In Los Angeles, something is falling from the sky on December 23rd. It lands in a dark alley and reveals a big pair of wings. This is the Archangel Michael, who suddenly takes out a knife and yells in pain. His wings fall off and his halo begins shrinking until it wraps around a collar that falls off. Then he breaks into a building by jumping through the glass roof and quickly knocks out the security guard to steal his clothes. In the bathroom, he finds a first aid kit and stitches the wounds left by his fallen wings. Dressed with the stolen clothes, Michael enters a container full of guns and steals as many as possible. The front door is locked, so he uses his power to trigger a big explosion that leaves a cross-shaped hole. Two cops see him come out and immediately try to arrest him with their guns out. But Michael grabs one of them and disarms him before using him as a shield. Suddenly the other cop's body starts having a strange seizure until he's possessed, revealing sharp teeth and black eyes. With a deeper voice, the cop asks Michael what he's doing because these aren't his orders. So Michael explains he's following his own orders now. The cop announces Michael will die, with the child opening fire and killing the other officer. 2. Michael dodges the bullets and shoots down the possessed man before escaping in the police car. As he drives through town, all the lights go out. That night Jeep can't sleep because of nightmares. His girlfriend Charlie tries to comfort him and says he shouldn't worry so much. She's pregnant with a baby that isn't his. But Charlie wants to take care of the child anyway. The next day Jeep's father Bob pans his diner and scolds Charlie for smoking while pregnant. A man named Kyle stops by because he got lost and his phone has no reception. There's also a family whose car broke down and Jeep was supposed to fix it, but he's taking too long. Bob goes to check on Jeep, who is fixing an old crib instead of the car. An argument ensues because Bob thinks Jeep shouldn't be taking care of a baby that isn't his. So Jeep reveals he's been having some really strange dreams about Charlie that make him want to protect her. After telling Jeep that acting on a hunch is a mistake, Bob goes back inside and notices that the TV screen only shows static. He hits it a couple of times and an emergency message appears. At the same time Jeep sees huge strange clouds approaching on the horizon and growing bigger by the second. In the diner, they try the radio and the phone but they're also down. At that moment an old lady named Gladys comes in and after ordering, she starts friendly chatting with everyone. Meanwhile Jeep tells Bob that he doesn't have the parts to fix the family's car. When Charlie brings the order, Gladys asks her about her pregnancy and suddenly says that the baby will burn. Charlie doesn't know what to say, and Gladys repeats the sentence using nastier words. Everyone in the diner is left in shock and an upset Charlie rushes out of the room. Gladys happily eats her meal, ignoring all the flies that now surround it. She says that all babies are going to burn, and when Sandra tries calling her out, Gladys insults her as her eyes turn black. Sandra's husband Howard approaches the old lady to defend his wife, only for Gladys to jump on him and bite his neck, taking out a big piece of flesh before flipping the table and announcing everyone will die. The cook Percy throws a pan at her and hits her right in the head, but Gladys easily recovers with just a scratch. Then she jumps up and begins crawling on the ceiling, quickly dodging all the bullets when Bob opens fire at her. Gladys lands close enough to slap and disarm Bob, so Jeep hurries to grab the weapon, but he freezes when she says, "You'll never save her." Seeing an opening, Gladys slides across the floor to try to attack him. However, she falls dead when Kyle shoots her several times. Howard's daughter Audrey stays in a corner while noticing blood falling from the ceiling. Afterward everyone checks on Howard, who has lost lots of blood. They put him in Kyle's car and drive off to find a hospital. At that moment they encounter a huge swarm of locusts blocking the road, and the little bugs soon are surrounding the car. They come inside through every nook and cranny, quickly filling up the vehicle and making the passengers panic. At the diner Jeep is throwing up and Bob comforts him, saying there's no shame in not being able to kill. They hear the car come back and Bob rushes out to check on the group, only to discover the giant horde of locusts flying in the sky. Moments later, when the men take Gladys' body out, they see a police car coming. As soon as Michael comes out, Bob points his gun at him, so the angel shows them his teeth aren't pointy. As Bob tries to explain himself, Michael realizes the people in the diner don't know that the apocalypse has taken over the world. He steals the gun and points it at Bob, only to be interrupted by Percy, who tries to calm them down. After some consideration, Michael tells them that more people like Gladys will arrive soon. After handing Bob his gun back, Michael gives each person a weapon from the car but tells Charlie in particular not to do anything brave. Everyone goes inside the diner and they immediately barricade all the doors using furniture. Now they have nothing else to do but wait. When night falls, the power goes out. So the men go to the roof to keep an eye out on the enemy. They notice an ice cream truck parking nearby, and when the driver comes out, he screeches very loudly with a giant mouth before his limbs begin growing extremely long. This creature charges at the men, who quickly open fire and don't stop shooting until the monster is dead. Unfortunately, there are more cars coming with people that are also transforming. So Michael tells everyone to open fire. This makes a few cars go off the road and some even crash, causing a big explosion. Michael uses a rocket launcher to cause a second explosion that makes a big truck crash and block the road, which in turn makes even more cars crash. The drivers come out of the remaining cars and immediately begin walking toward the diner. The group is shocked to see children among them. So Michael has to remind them to keep shooting because these people aren't human anymore. Dozens of bodies fall one after the other. But one attacker manages to break in through the window and hide in the shadows. Jeep doesn't know where to shoot, so the mysterious person manages to capture Howard to drag him away. The women rush in to help. But unfortunately, another enemy gets excited to see Charlie and takes her too. Michael hurries to cut the guy's man off to save Charlie. But Howard disappears into the horde of enemies. Then Michael begins shooting at the windows to make the intruders back off. Sandra is freaking out and desperate to find her husband. So Michael has to inform her that Howard is gone. He also scolds Charlie for what she did and reminds her to stay away from danger. Afterward, Bob demands an explanation. Michael reveals that God has grown to hate humans and wants them all dead, like the cleansing he did with the flood many years ago. All the people who have been attacking them were possessed by God's warrior angels following his orders, and Michael admits he used to be one too. Some of the group members can't believe angels would behave like this. And when Bob refuses to believe in God at all, Michael points out that God lost belief in humanity too. He also explains that he's here to protect Charlie because her baby is humanity's only hope. So even if the group refuses to believe the story, they must at least agree to protect Charlie because the creatures will keep coming for her. Charlie is 8 months pregnant, but the baby will still be born on Christmas. Later, Jeep privately asks Michael to share more about himself. The angel explains that he used to be a general in God's army, but he disagreed with the latest order and that's why he quit. God might have lost faith, but Michael hasn't. The world may be full of hatred and darkness, but Michael can still see hope in the people who refuse to give up and continue to fight for what they believe in. Like Jeep himself. In the morning, Bob and Michael take the roof shift, and Michael begins remembering how it all happened. When Michael started to defy God, Archangel Gabriel argued with him to make him stay, pointing out that humans earn judgment with their behavior. However, Michael believed an angel's duty was to guide humans and send them down the right path. He watched thousands of angels flying in the sky and getting ready to fight while Gabriel told him that war was happening whether he liked it or not. In the diner, Sandra wakes up when she hears someone calling her name. She goes to the back door to investigate, realizing the noise is Howard's crying voice. Sandra opens the door just enough to look outside and is horrified to find Howard crucified upside down. His body is covered in boils and he keeps asking for help. As Sandra starts moving the barricade, Percy and Audrey run to stop her, but she just pushes them off. Then she runs outside and tries to reach her husband, whose boils are about to explode. Percy arrives just in time and acts as a shield between her and the acid explosion, which greatly hurts his back. He runs to bring Sandra back inside, and once she's safe, he falls dead to the ground, revealing his back was scalded to the bone. Bob cries for his old friend and blames himself for falling asleep during his guard shift. Sandra is tied to a chair and Audrey tries to feed her until Sandra starts blaming her for everything, since they were moving to another city because of her. Moments later, they manage to find a broadcast on the radio. It turns out survivors are forming militias in various parts of the country and fighting the possessed. So the group wants to join them. However, Michael forbids it since it'd expose Charlie to an easy attack. In private, Charlie admits to Jeep that she wanted to terminate the pregnancy, but she waited too long, and when she went to the clinic, the doctor couldn't do the procedure anymore. Charlie felt stuck with the baby and hated the child for it. That night, the power comes back in the diner. At that moment, a car arrives, so Kyle and Audrey get ready to shoot. However, they lower their guns when they notice the man and his son look normal. Unfortunately, this turns out to be a trap. The possessed turned on the lights to make the survivors come out of hiding, and now they surround them to kill them. Kyle immediately slides down the roof and approaches the attackers with open fire, hoping to rescue at least the child. In the diner, Bob wants to go out and help, but Michael points his gun at him and tells him that opening the door will get them all killed. After shooting a bunch of men, Kyle reaches the kid and picks him up, only to discover the boy has already been possessed. The child bites Kyle's neck, killing him. Audrey cries out and jumps off the roof to join the fight, shooting at every possessed person in her way. Eventually she runs out of bullets and runs to hide inside the car, which the enemy quickly surrounds. Charlie is furious because Michael won't do anything, so she threatens to go out herself. Michael has no choice but to grab some weapons and join the fight too. He brings down enemies with a combination of shots and hand-to-hand combat, not even getting a scratch in the process. When he reaches the gas pumps, he shoots one to create a flamethrower and light the car on fire. Once all the possessed people back off, Michael easily walks through the flames and breaks the door to rescue Audrey. They rush back into the diner and get inside right before the explosion could reach them. Charlie runs to the kitchen to get some water and discovers the creepy kid has sneaked in. He tries attacking her with a knife and manages to wound her before Charlie grabs a tray to use as a shield. The knife keeps bouncing on the metal and accidentally cut off the child's thumbs. When Charlie kicks him off, the kid disappears and the power goes out again. Using flashlights, the group follows a trail of blood and finds handprints on the ceiling. Suddenly the boy jumps on Bob from behind and tries to kill him. As they struggle, Michael grabs the kid and throws him off, giving Jeep the chance to shoot him dead. At that moment Charlie goes into labor. Michael and Audrey support her and guide her through it while hearing really loud horns echoing in the sky. On the roof, Jeep and Bob watch some lightning illuminate the area and are horrified to discover thousands of possessed people appearing out of nowhere. After lots of effort, a healthy baby boy is born. Yet Charlie refuses to hold him. She wants Michael to take the child and raise him himself. But Michael explains this is her journey to finish. Audrey shows the baby to Sandra, who remembers what being a mother is about and apologizes to her daughter for her attitude earlier while she secretly struggles with the horn blasts again and Michael tells everyone to get ready because Gabriel is coming to end things. The sound reaches the possessed people out. The group realizes that Michael's original mission had been to kill the baby and Michael confirms it. However, he also reveals that the baby was never supposed to be born. So obviously the future and God's will can be changed. Feeling betrayed, Charlie moves to grab her son, only for Sandra to free her hands and take him first. She wants to give the child to the enemy to get them to leave. As the horns get louder, a light blasts the door open and Michael opens fire to kill Sandra, causing her to drop the boy. Luckily Jeep catches him just in time. Then Gabriel comes in, opening his wings to intimidate before attacking Jeep with his mace. Jeep quickly dodges the attack while Bob opens fire. However, Gabriel uses his wings as a shield and whirls until he's close enough to slice Bob's belly. As Gabriel throws Bob into the kitchen, Jeep tries to help him, but Michael blocks his way and tells him to escape with the child. He wants him to find the prophet and read the instructions. However, Jeep doesn't understand what he means. Audrey, Charlie, Jeep and the baby leave through the back door and find all the possessed people with their heads down in respect. They don't move at all. They just let the group reach the car and take off. In the diner, Michael tells Gabriel that he doesn't care what happens to him now that the child is safe. He asks for a truce, but Gabriel turns it down and triggers another fight. Michael quickly opens fire while Gabriel is constantly moving, trying to attack Michael with his mace and his wings. Suddenly the mace and the gun meet in the middle and Gabriel throws Michael against the wall. Then, he tries to kill him by activating his mace, which turns into a saw. Michael retaliates with strong punches and even smashes a TV on Gabriel's head. The angels keep exchanging punches and kicks for a while until Gabriel sees an opening and slices Michael's stomach with his wig. This isn't enough to stop Michael, who quickly disarms Gabriel and jumps on him to start choking him. Gabriel flies up and after smashing Michael against the ceiling, he retrieves his mace and finally kills his brother. As Gabriel cries, Michael's body dissolves into light and disappears. At the same time, markings appear on Jeep's arm and he realizes these are Michael's instructions. Afterward, Gabriel hears a noise and discovers Bob is still alive in the kitchen. Bob uses a lighter near the oven and causes a huge explosion that hits Gabriel and every person outside the diner. Moments later, Gabriel suddenly appears on top of the car and starts destroying the roof. Jeep shoots at him and causes him to slip, but Gabriel holds on to the trunk and Jeep's bullets can't make him let go. Audrey shoots a flare at him, but Gabriel knocks it off and makes it bounce around the car. Then the angel climbs inside the car, knocking Audrey down before reaching for the baby. Jeep grabs his arm and starts fighting him while speeding up. Audrey grabs Gabriel as she tells Jeep to hit the brakes. So he does exactly that. The sudden stop sends Audrey and Gabriel flying through the front window and the car rolls down the hill, crashing into a ditch. Luckily the family is fine and they leave the car to start climbing the mountain. Gabriel comes after them again and knocks Jeep down before asking for the baby. But Charlie refuses to give her son up. Then Jeep tackles Gabriel to throw him off the cliff. When they land on the ground, Gabriel takes out his knife and gets ready to kill Jeep, only to be interrupted by a bright light. It's Michael, who has regained his wings and his status as an eternal angel. He explains that Gabriel always gave God what he asked for, but Michael gave him what he needed. Gabriel tries killing his brother again. However, Michael is at full power now and easily strikes him down. Then he refuses to kill Gabriel, saying lack of mercy is what caused Gabriel to fail. An offended Gabriel flies away and Michael follows him after telling Jeep he's the true protector. Afterward, Jeep, Charlie, and the baby find a survivor settlement and get ready to raise humanity's last hope. God sends an army of monsters to eradicate humanity after losing faith in